everybody, it's Omar. It is March 13th, 8:27 p.m. in the evening, and I want to make a video building my watch list for tomorrow. Before I do that, I get a lot of messages about like my indicators, like how I use this volume indicator. Guys, I've said it several times, but just to give you guys some insight, so there is on YouTube, all you gotta do is type thinkorswim value indicators in YouTube search, and it'll link you to a YouTube video that shows you how to build these volume indicators. So the same volume indicator that I use is in a YouTube video, and all I did was watch the video and then put it to use. Now I also get a question a lot about, hey Omar, how do you use this thing is about unusual volume, like it lets you know like if a stock has unusual volume. Let me give you the link to that. So there is a website called right here, TraderYam. So TraderYam.blogspot.com. Somebody, actually one of the people followed me, put me onto this page, which I really appreciate. And right in here somewhere, one of these scripts was the unusual volume one. There's all these are all different types of thinkorswim scripts that you can use. You know, if you're into Ichimoku and all this other stuff that I don't even understand, there's a blogspot that they have all kinds of scripts. So I found an unusual one that's for the unusual volume. It was one, it's somewhere in here, and I added it, and that's how I got the unusual volume script. All right. Next up, I get a lot of questions about this TTM squeeze that I use here. This kind of tells me like the colors indicate whether or not a stock is sort of gapping up and down. So the light blue means that it's strong, like it's gapping up, and the yellow means it just really depends. Red means it's going down. Dark blue means it's like change. So if it goes from light blue to light blue to dark blue, that means it's weakening, to yellow, and then to red, which means it's like weak. So if you want to know how to put all that, there's a video called Thinkorswim Watchlist TTM Squeeze. So you can just type in TTM Squeeze, and you get this Thinkorswim TTM Squeeze. Actually, this is a website, Hanan Tech. If you go to Hanan Tech page, you get a playlist of all these videos that show you how to add all these like indicators and scans that they create and you can add. All right. So again, let me go back. That's HANA.
Hi folks, and welcome to this introductory video of the Han Tech website.
All right.
In this video, we're going.
You can go there and you can figure it out for yourself. I just figured all this out myself, guys. Trust me, I am no genius by any stretch of the imagination. All I did was go to YouTube, and you can find anything on the internet if you put in the work. All right. So just go watch those videos, and then you can build this out the way I got it. All right. And then to get these scanners again on my YouTube page. I figured it out for myself how to make them, but if you go to my YouTube page, and just type my name, watchotrade, you will then, if you go to my page, again, you go to playlist, and within the playlist, the Momentum Trading Fundamentals page, in there I got like 11 videos. And one of them, hey, what's up? One of them is creating custom scanners and indicators using Thinkorswim, and all that you can find everything there. All right, guys. So I just wanted to put that out there because honestly, I'm getting tired of answering the same questions. All right. So and then the fibs, the automatic fibs, I already put the link. So if you go to my Twitter page. Because I get that on my Twitter, I have it pinned right here. So this is it. This is the script that you can copy, and it should, in theory, when you copy it, give you not only the fibs but all these other indicators that I have. It should give it all to you. quite honest with you. So if you copy that, it should give you my entire setup. Okay. All right. So with that said, let's talk about tomorrow's watch list. All right. So these are the stocks that I have for tomorrow. It could have been more. A lot of times before I leave work, I may find something and add it. I added today. Let me go to today's. I gave you guys a killer trade pre-market, which was where is it? PTI. So I gave you guys PTI. I mapped this out. I caught this pre-market before I left to work, and I had set the support and resistance lines. And when the market opened, it was funny. I saw William Carriman. He has a YouTube sometimes, and he was doing a live trading session, and he was shorting this pre-market based off the lower high. So he was watching it gap down. Let me put it up on the big chart. I thought he was crazy. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but I've seen him make some good trades. It happens to us all. But he saw the stock was like forming lower highs, so he took a short, risking off the lower high. I think right in here. I don't know if it was like right at the open or right in here. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the 5-minute chart. That's why. Let me put the 1-minute chart. So yeah, so I was watching him, and he got in short right here because he saw weakness, which was the lower high, which was not a bad trade, But what I couldn't understand for the life of me was you saw pre-market that this had a bottom here, 585. So you saw a few times it had touched that, and if you look further back, there's more support down here, more support down here. There's a lot of volume here. There's a lot of support. So I was like, I couldn't, I was trying to, I didn't realize I had to sign in. And I was like not like he was going to listen to me, but I was going to tell him, dude, cover, what are you doing? This shit is going to spike. And, he just let that shit rip. And, he took a loss. But I knew that this was a double bottom. And I saw the volume coming in. I knew this shit was going to rip. So once it got over 6, that was it, right? Right in this candle, it hit a high. It hit a high 610 and closed at 609, and then that next candle it hit a low and it closed at 606. Right in this candle, I got executed. I went in and I knew it was gonna start taking off, and that shit just ripped. So I gave that to you pre-market. I told you map your support and resistance levels, and had you done that, you could have got in risking that 585 once you started seeing the momentum go up. And this just squeezed the shit out of every short. That's why it went crazy the way it went crazy. And if you could have got above the pre-market high, which was the pre-market high was that 693 mark, you could have took shit. Sorry guys, I hate when this happens. You could have over that 693, you could have took it right in here when you got that test of the 693 and went long. But you got to be careful when you do this. But kind of pulled back and tested that which resistance level, which became support, and once you saw the volume, you could have took this long, for a good 30-40 cents. So you gotta be careful. You gotta take profits, and that's really what I'm why I'm going over this, guys. Don't be afraid to take profits, man. Don't be thinking about So in business, you think about maximum profitability. In trading, you just want to be profitable. So just keep that in mind. All right. So with that said, let me pull up today's watch list. For tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go over these real quick. RAS is up. This stock. If I can remember, this is a stock that's ran before. I remember this. This is a stock I think went from like 20 cents to like $1 something. I would have to look back further if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back. Like 3 years. Let's see. Man, it's hard to tell. But I remember this stock. It's had multiple green days. I remember when this stock at one time, and then I don't know if it was this day. Yeah, this. Oh no, this is not the day. Shit. I could have swore it was this stock. Damn, I can't remember. But this thing was at 17 cents. It hit a high of 46 cents. I don't know, maybe it wasn't this stock, but there was a stock that went from like 20 cents to like $1.50. And that might have been I thought this might have been the stock, but this is a stock. Yeah, I remember this stock. This thing ran to like 80 cents or something like that last year. I just have to do more research, but keep this on watch for tomorrow. So we have our support and resistance levels mapped up. It's up 63%. So you gotta expect people are gonna take profit, but that doesn't mean there won't be a continuation. Maybe tomorrow just dies, but you know we have our entry set. So obviously, if it breaks the high and holds, and take it long. Be careful of that 50 cent mark. That's a whole number. Remember, whole numbers are psychological resistance barriers. If it, look for that dip buy potentially at 36.08. If it can't hold, you can short it, risking off that. The next key support level is 32 cents, and the next key support level below that is 28.61 for potential dip buys on the pullbacks. All right. If you can find shares to short of this, that's awesome. Because this thing will pull back. But I think you need a brokerage like Centerpoint in order to be able to do it. To be honest with you, you need So I don't. Maybe interactive brokers may have shares. I'm not sure. You're definitely not gonna find shares with Thinkorswim. Let me check. Or I don't even think E-Trade will have shares of this. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Believe it or not, Thinkorswim, it doesn't say nothing to borrow, so it may be shorter. But by the market opens tomorrow, it probably won't be available. But we'll see. All right, next up, SPEX. SPEX is up 54% today. So, SPEX is one of these stocks. Let me just do 1 year, 1 day. Shit. So, this is a stock that last year went on June. It went from 128 to 223. And the next day, this thing opened at 328 and hit a high of 475. So that tells you that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. That day it traded with 14 million shares, and then it traded the following with 39 million shares, which is nuts. Today, this stock traded with 21 million shares, so it has a lot of volume today. So that tells me that not that it's going to, but chart history tells us that it's done it before. The potential is there that it can happen again. Shorts are probably looking to short this down because they think it's going to break down, but if it gets back and can't break below that 177 level, look for shorts to cover and look for a massive squeeze. So we'll see. So I'm looking at two key levels, me personally. I want to see if it's going to break above 242 and hold to take it long. Otherwise, I'll short it, risking down that 242 level. Or I want to see if it's going to hold that 177 level. And if it holds 177, I'll buy the dip. Otherwise, I'll short, risking off that level. Just be careful because there is some support here at 165. But if it can't hold 165, this thing gets back down to 140. All right? But we'll see tomorrow. Maybe there's a day two. I don't know what the news is, to be honest with you. I'm just looking at chart fundamentals. Next up, PTI. PTI is up 54% today. Right? Had this really nice move. Started pre-market, right? So we talked about this. It hit a high of 739 and then, has retraced, but it's held. Look at this. Look at the key support here at this 581 level. It's only, it hasn't given back all its gains, right? That tells me that it's bullish, all right? And what's the float? It's not that big a float, 34 million shares. It's not a huge float. I don't know what the market cap of this is, but that tells me that, and it's a biotech. Biotechs are hot right now. So that tells me that potentially tomorrow there could be a day two squeeze. All right. So we'll keep it on watch. Right. So I'm looking to see if it holds 581. I think this thing's going to run. But I'll look for a dip buy potentially there. If not, then I would short it, risking 531 for a potential dip buy. If it can't hold 531, then I short it, risking 459 for a potential dip buy. And then that would pretty much be it for me with that stock in terms of dip buys on the breakdowns. Now, above it, I'm looking for a potential buy at 668. The safer buy to me, though, would be 693. If it holds 693, you could take it long, risking off 693. And really, if you want to be really safe, just if it can hold 7, take it long, risking 739. Now, if it breaks 739 and runs, this shit is going to rip tomorrow. We'll see. But this, according to the gap fill strategy, this gotta, you would think it's going to fill the gap. This is not a stock. This is a stock that last time it did have a crazy move. It went from 245. The next day, it opened up and hit a high 695. You see it started gapping back down. It took like a month, but it eventually filled the gap. You could see here. So, or actually never really filled the gap completely, close to it. So, you know, you got to think it's going to pull back. But, you know, maybe tomorrow it runs again. So we'll see. Next up, ECYT. ECYT, this thing just keeps running and running and running. We've been, it's been on my watch list since all the way back in like $4. And just keeps selling. It doesn't want to die. It just keeps going. So we'll see. We got our key support and resistance levels mapped out for tomorrow. 1154 is the high. If it breaks for 1154 and holds, take it long, risking off that. Next key level here is 1045. If it holds 1045, buy the dip, otherwise short it, risking off that level. The next key level below that is 963. If it holds 963, buy the dip, otherwise short it, risking off that level. The next key level before that is 932. Buy the dip, otherwise short it, risking off that level. And 856, you can buy the dip. And there's actually, I got more down here. 746 as well, 604, 550. These are from previous days. It just keeps running. Now, in theory, because this stock has been going massive, you got to expect a monster red day. Tomorrow may be that day, maybe not. But at some point, when this thing starts pulling back, this thing is going to fall hard. So just keep it on watch. Tomorrow may not be the day, though. Maybe it continues going. I mean, it's not, this is just not normal. This is just insane right now. It's just insanity. We'll see how high it can go. Next up is CDXS. CDXS is was actually down. It's actually finished net red on the day. But, this thing gapped. Let's put it here. Yeah, this thing from 9 to 13 bucks. So the reason why I'm watching it, because this thing has just been on a monster tear, right? Going on an upward trend. And, you got to expect, even though it finished red, I would think that people are going to take more profit. That's just my guess. So just based on the technical chart, I'm looking to see if it pulls back and breaks below 1250, then I would short it, risking off 1250 to see what it's going to react at $12. Or 1203, really $12. If it breaks that, stay in. And all the way down to 1145. I think potentially this stock tomorrow can get back to that level and then it bounce and buy the dip. We'll see. It's not, a stock with a ton of volume. It has volume, you see here in these bars. Not tons of volume though. But, whatever. I just put it on there. ZSAN, this is the stock. This stock does just not want to die. It just runs and just keeps going and going and going. And this stock, it's been as high as $25, and you see it pulled back 2 days, and it had the first green day. I don't know if it's gonna have another green day tomorrow, but I'm looking at two key levels here. I want to see if it's gonna break above 1843. If it breaks above 1843 and holds, I may take it long. I'm gonna make sure though to watch that 1894 level, because 1894 $19 can get rejected because there's a lot of overhead resistance. So you got to think that it will. At one of these levels, it will stop and then pull back hard. So just be careful if you decide to trade this. The other key level I'm looking at is 1620, because there's so much support here at 1620. If it pulls back and holds, I'll buy the dip. I'd rather take a dip buy at the 1620 level than buy the breakout, to be quite honest with you. I think that's the safer play, and I would probably risk, 16 or 1530. Now that could be a lot. So what I would do is I would only take a small position here, not risking more than losing maybe a couple of $100 if I was to take a position. Next up, DSW. DSW is up. I like trading this stock because every time it gaps up, you can notice that it just has a massive pullback. Like got to $22 here, it came all the way back down to 19. Every time it gaps up in this $20 area, it always pulls back. So look, it went from 19, has this gap to fill below. I think, my hope is that we have a nice little pullback. I'll be watching real closely for a nice short opportunity, because it will present itself tomorrow. That's my guess. If it breaks 21.90 and holds, take it long, risking off that. If it can't hold 21.15, take it short, risking off that. And even though you do have support here, I think this thing can retest 20.36. And even if it can't hold that, if it holds, you can buy the dip. But if it can't hold that, this thing gets back to $19. So, I'll definitely be looking for a short opportunity, risking off one of these key levels. Next up, Macy's. Macy's is up too. Retail's up. Macy's had a nice move today. Hit a high of 30.29. Oh shit, I didn't put my alert there. Let me do the alert real quick. By breakout, it holds 30.29. 30.29. or short rejection. All right, let's see. We'll see what happens. So, all right, got my got my alert set there. So we'll see. I'm gonna look to see if it holds. I didn't put an. Oh yeah, I did put an alert there. It's just that it's so close. I'm gonna look to see if it holds 29.58 by the dip. Otherwise, short, risking off that level. The next key level below is 28.28. If it holds by the dip, otherwise short it. Next key level below that is 28.96. If it can't hold it by the dip, if it can hold by the dip, otherwise short it. So I think it pulls back tomorrow, and you'll probably you can take a nice easy short if it breaks down one of these key support levels. Last but not least, BXC, which has been on my watch list for the last couple of days. If you would have bought this and held, I mean, you could be, you've been killing it. Now who the hell knew that this would be at $35? I mean, but if you look at the stock, I mean, it's insane. Look at this. Look at this. You gotta think people are gonna take profit. So this is another key stock that I'm looking at my watch list. It is unfortunately with Thinkorswim, nothing to borrow. That's a shame. But it's a low floater, so you gotta be careful with this stock. It moves. So be mindful of this. A lot of people haven't been paying attention to this stock for whatever reason. It's been on my watch list though every day. I haven't. I miss these trades like an idiot, but it is what it is. So what I look to see is maybe as a day 3, we'll see if it breaks above 35.63 and holds. Take a loan, risking off that. Otherwise, short it, risking off 35.63. The next key level here is $33. If it holds $33 by the dip, otherwise short, risking off that. The next key level below that is $31.60. So I mean, if it breaks $33, I mean, this thing could really tank, because and then you got all these key levels here: $31.60, $29.75, $26.03, $23.10, $20.17. So these are all key support levels to potentially buy dips or short risk off of. But this will be hard to find shares to short because it's a low float stock. All right, so that's on my watch list tomorrow. Sorry this video came late. The drill at work, so it's hard to do these things. But I see growing slowly, and people are being much they're engaging me more. So it keeps me more motivated. As long as you guys are still active, I'll keep doing this. But when I see like the momentum dies, I'm probably gonna literally leave social media. All right, folks. So have a great evening, and like, subscribe, and share. All right. Keep sending me questions. All right.